pulled into the parking lot at Morro Beach, right next to Morro Rock, and it was going to be a big day. I had this feeling I'd seen earlier on the surf reports that the waves were going to be really huge. So I pull into the dirt parking lot, and I drive up to the break wall where everybody's parked. And the first thing I notice is that nobody is getting ready to go out. Nobody's waxing up their boards or pulling on their wetsuits. They're all staring out to sea. And so as I pull into a parking spot, I look out to sea. What are they looking at, I wonder to myself. And I see waves that have got faces at least 20 feet. And I'm looking at them and I'm going, and I think to myself, I've never seen waves that big before in person. I'd seen them online many times, but in person, never. And so I'm like, okay, I'm here. This is above my skill level. I'd only been surfing for a couple of years at the time. And the biggest waves I'd surfed at that time were maybe 12 foot. And I had a blast when I was doing that. But they were very manageable. 12 foot isn't really, that big. So I sit in my car and I watch. And I'm thinking, what the heck? And then I get out of my car and I go sit on my hood and I'm watching with everybody else. And then I notice that there's a little speck out there bobbing around. And I realize it's another surfer. It's the only person I see out there. And I'm thinking, whoa. Well, that's some balls. And, he's paddling around and he's trying to find a place to take off from position, find position. And after about 10 minutes, he finally, I guess he picks his wave. And it's a big one. Probably not one of the bigger ones. Probably about maybe, just under 20 foot in the face. And he paddles in. And he takes off. And he drops in. And he does this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bottom turn. Nice left bottom turn. And he sets himself up on that face. And the top of the wave is well overhead above him. And he just starts shooting. He tucks in low, leans forward, and it's just like, blam! He's gone. And he's flying along, going left down the face of that wave. And then finally it starts to close out above him. And he tries to make a right turn into the flats and to beat the breaking wave, and it breaks and whoosh, big explosion of water just envelops him and he's gone. And the whole crowd at the time is like, oh yeah, oh no. And it was quiet, and then the guy pops up. And it was like, yeah, he came up. He pulled his board to him by his leash, and then the next wave comes, and he's going in. And he's done for the day. So this whole time I'm thinking, I don't know. But you know what? I'm getting my guts up, getting a little intestinal fortitude. And I know the channel's working good. There's a channel between the big Morro Rock and the incoming waves. It's probably about maybe 10, 15, 20 feet wide. And it's the current from the incoming waves push the water back out that way. And so it's kind of like a conveyor belt to take you to the outside. So I'm like, you know what? Why not? I'll just go out there and I'll look around. I've never been in big waves like that. I'd always wanted to check them out. So I suit up. Nobody else is. Everybody else is just sitting there. I suit up, wax up my board, and I walk down. There's the breakwater, and I hop in the channel, and I start paddling. And before I know it, I'm out there. And the whole time I'm going in through the channel, I'm going, I don't know if I should do this. I'm thinking, I'm not being too smart. But before I know it, I'm out there. You know, I got lucky, got between a little bit of a lull, a break in the waves coming in. And the next thing I know, I'm out there amongst these giant, huge monster waves. And I'm like, this is awesome. Scary, but very awesome. You know, a wave would come in and I'd up and over, and you know, the wind's blowing offshore. You know, and it's pushing spray back over the waves, and it's sparkling like a rainbow diamonds. And this is just beautiful. You know, I start taking chances and I go inside a little bit. And, you know, and I'm watching these waves pitch over. This, and I look out to sea, and there's that distinct line of a set coming in. And I'm thinking, you know, all of a sudden it occurred to me, really, it's just danger. You're in too far. You need to start paddling out. So I start paddling back out. And I'm scared. These are bigger waves than anything I've seen yet today. And so the first wave, it comes and I go up the wave, the face of the wave. And as I go over, it breaks about maybe 15 feet to my left. And it just, big, huge lip, just shoots out. Wow. And crashes, and it's just like this big maw, big old monster's mouth. And it's just like, as I come over the top, blam, I land, and I look at the next wave, and it's already starting to feather, and I'm going, I'm not going to make it over this one. Oh crap. And so I'm still paddling, and all of a sudden that wave breaks maybe about 30 feet in front of me, big old monster pitch down. And all I could think of was dive, dive, dive. And I just felt I'd roll off my board and I'd just start swimming straight down, scratching for all I was worth. And then then all of a sudden the water goes dark as the foam ball goes over me. And I feel it grab my board. And I feel my leash stretch. It's stretching, and nothing. My leash broke, and here I am out here swimming around in the midst of monsters. So I scratch back to the surface, running out of air, and I break through the surface. I got enough time for about 3 breaths, maybe 4, before the next foam ball washes over me and pushes me back down into the dark again. And I come back up, and well, that set had passed, but I'm still out there about a quarter mile out to sea. The water's cold. I'm wearing my 3-2 wetsuit, which is fine for Southern California, but up here, where I was on the Central Coast, well, it's a little thin, especially when the water's in maybe its high 40s, so I'm cold. But I'm like, my first thought was, don't panic. Don't panic. What do you got? Well, you got a wetsuit. You're not, you're breathing. You're not drowning. Start swimming ashore. Just don't panic. So I start swimming, and then all the foam balls from all the waves start breaking, and they start washing over me. Each one would push me down a little bit, and I'd scramble back up for air. It's so cold. I got brain freeze, like 1,000 Slurpees going on in my head. And I'm thinking, oh shit. What am I going to do? And then about halfway in, that's still about an eighth of a mile out, mind you. About halfway in, I start laughing. I'm treading water, freezing my ass off, brain freeze like crazy. And all of a sudden I just look to the sky and I say, please God help me. Laughing, nobody's coming to help. I'm on my own. I got to do this myself. And I continue swimming. And so for a few minutes later, I don't know really how long it took me to get back in. It could have been 5 minutes. It could have been a half hour. Because it seemed like time stood still. But I'm getting closer to the shore, and the ball of wave came, the foam ball comes, and it pushes me down, still deep, but I touched bottom, and I touched sand. And I'm thinking, all of a sudden the thought, I might actually survive this. So I keep swimming, and finally I drag myself on the shore. I don't walk on the shore. I'm like kind of on my hands and knees. And I got in, and the water's just a couple inches deep and washing over me, and I just laid there on the beach, shivering. My arms and my legs are numb. Brain freeze is still going. And my first thought was, would I do this again? Yes. Hell yeah, I would. But you better be prepared next time. So I stand up, I finally get to my legs, get up to my feet, and I look, where's my board? It's about 100 feet down the beach. I walk over, pick it up. Yeah, the leash is broken. Carry it back, and as I get to my car, there's these two old grizzled surfers. They both got beards and wearing baseball caps, flannel shirts and jeans and flip-flops, and they're sitting on the hood of the beat-up truck, their surfboards in the bed of the truck. And as I walk up, one of them looks over at me and he kind of smiles at me. They're both smiling at me. I don't know, they probably thought I was a fool. But they're both looking at me and they're smiling. One of them says, "We're rooting for you." You know, and at that moment, I was kind of like, half of it was kind of like, fuck you, dude. I was thinking that. But the other half was like, I'm one of these guys now. I'm a water man, cold water man. I survived what nature threw at me. You know, this story, I was told didn't have, it wasn't resolved, and I think it was. Because what I learned from this story, what I learned from this experience, was that I could face things that were bigger, much, much, much bigger than myself. Nature, natural things. What man has to throw at us, that ain't nothing. But what nature throws at us, that's the big deal. I could face it, and I could survive it, and I could overcome it, and I can grow from it. I can stand up to the challenge. I can do what I have to survive. I can live through my fear. I can live through certain death. And yeah, it made me a better person. And I can do anything I want today. And I do.